The season 27 finale is upon us, and it was quite a doozy. Let's go over everything that happened and Zach's decision on the 5-minute fix. All right, for this one, we're in studio, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, Bachelor Nation is in the house for the season finale, live from the studio in LA. Jesse 2 Jack Palmer says, buckle up, because it's going to be a wild ride this last episode. So first off, we get a chance to hear from Ariel and what she has to say about her experience. Jesse says he admires her incredible poise throughout the whole situation. I have to agree, while Zach was giving her the shoe away, she maintained calmness and only had nothing but nice words to say about him. She wasn't or didn't seem angry, upset, or anything like that. She was very thankful and appreciative of the opportunity that she had to get to know Zach, and really appreciated him allowing her to open up and everything like that. She did say the emotions didn't hit her until she got in the van, they were driving off, all that good stuff. But again, she expressed gratitude towards Zach for making her feel very comfortable. She also mentioned that when it came to the fantasy suite week, which, as you might expect, would be a hot topic, she was on the same page as Zach in terms of not being intimate during the fantasy suite. And she actually said she wishes Zach would have just, had that conversation with her naturally during the course of the evening, instead of coming out and trying to flat out say, you know what, no one's having sex this week, and that's how it's gonna go down. Ariel would appreciate if, came a little naturally. And you know what, I probably think if Zach didn't make that decision, and you hear him during the course of the episode say, I wish I didn't put that kind of pressure on myself or whatever. But I think Ariel maybe would have came out on top in this situation if that aspect of things was handled differently. I gotta say too, Ariel is so dope. When Zach came out, she greeted him again, saying how appreciative of him she was, but also telling him straight up, like, you owed it to her, or he owed it to her, to be honest with him about the whole him sleeping with Gabi thing, because Katie knew and Ariel didn't find out until she watched it on the show, which, it's kind of crazy to think about it. But again, like I said, this was a hot topic, and I'm sure Zach would take it back if he could, but he can't. So Zach did apologize to Ariel for how that week was handled. His intention was to make things less complicated, when in fact, all he did was make it more complicated. Said he was in his own head, and in fact, spiraling, if you will. Let's get on to the episode, shall we? So right at the beginning, Zach talks about the fantasy suite blunder in not only trying to take sex off the table, but also having sex with Gabi, and then telling Katie, saying it was a bad idea. He's hoping he can rectify that situation with Katie and Gabi. We see Zach's fam jam. They give him a little bit of advice regarding the situation, and Gabi's up first. She's the one who gets to see the family, meet his parents, his sisters, his dad, Chap. What a great name, Chap. Kind of reminds me of that movie, Chappie. Before she meets the family, she says, I got to have a talk with Zach about last week and everything that went down, because she's feeling like Zach is disappointed in how he handled things because of her. So, she's feeling like she's the cause of this dismay and despair that Zach is going through in his mind, and she doesn't want that. And, if he doesn't say the right thing, then Chap ain't gonna meet Gabi. That's for sure. So they meet up. She tells him, like, hey, can we talk for a second before we go see your family? He's like, yeah, of course. She says she's feeling a lot of weight on her shoulders, and that she felt a lot of negative feelings were directed towards her. Zach tells her, no, girl, that's not the case, baby. That's not the case. It was himself, and the fact that he attempted to put that pressure on himself and failed. He says he doesn't regret the decision whatsoever. His facial expressions while he's telling her this just crack me up as well, because he's like, while he's talking to her, it was hilarious, I found. So Gabi goes in, she talks to Chap first, then we see Zach talking to his mom. We see Gabi talking to his sisters, Gabi talking to his mom, Megan. And one thing I noticed is one of Zach's sisters just didn't seem too excited about Gabi. The one sister, she's being cordial, talking, they having a conversation. The other sister, she just didn't look too impressed. Just the look on her face while Gabi was talking didn't seem like somebody who was interested in getting to know this girl, you know what I'm saying? So after the family meetup, Gabi tells Zach straight up she's in love with him and she's ready, down for the cause, ready to be Mrs. Shallcross. And Zach responds as, you know, any person probably would, happy, excited, and really happy that he could hear those words from Gabi. Next, we see Katie, and she's talking about last week how it felt just to hear those words or hear Zach tell her that he slept with Gabi. Well, he slept with another one of the women, and she even admits she was in her head. She even admits to spiraling. She used those words, spiraling. But you know what they say? The first step to recovery is admitting you have a problem. And it seems that Katie has definitely recovered. So Katie goes in, talks to Megan first. That's Zach's mom. Talks to Chap. Everything seems good. Talks to his sisters. Again, the one sister looking kind of sketchy. But I'll tell you what, by the end of it, when the whole family thing was starting to wrap up, the two sisters seemed like in a lot better spirits, especially the one that wasn't looking too happy before. They seemed like everything was all good. They were happy about Katie, happy to meet her, a good experience, all that good stuff. After that, you know, Katie tells Zach that she too is in love with him. The fam jam does wonders apparently because of the same kind of thing. After talking to his family, like Gabi, Katie just was overwhelmed with joy and a sense of certainty that she just couldn't find anywhere else. And, you know, she is hoping that Zach is going to be the one for her, that he chooses her to spend the rest of their lives together. It's now time for the final one-on-one dates. Katie gets the first one. Zach and Katie, they meet up in a national park. I gotta say, Katie's risking it all. She's wearing these white sweatpants, flip-flops. They're like, you know, kind of going on a little bit of a hike-ish kind of thing. I just want to know what kind of laundry detergent she's using to be able to, you know, wear these white pants in this situation. Like, she's risking it all. Katie then lets Zach know she can imagine how difficult of a situation this is for him, and the fact that he has to choose between her and, as she stated, a great woman like Gabi. She lets him know how much she cares about him, how she feels safe and secure with him, how she wants to spend the rest of her life with him, being vulnerable as fuck, essentially, what it comes down to. I think this went a long way with Zach because to me, from Katie, there was a lot less wondering and a little bit more her just being appreciative of everything, thinking about the process and just being appreciative of Zach having her or being in that situation with Zach. You know, last two women left versus Gabi, where, you know, you see she's always talking about how she's insecure, which is wild because Zach was under the impression, or he made it seem like he was under the impression, that Gabi was very sure in the relationship. So I'm just, you know, I'm trying to think where that changed. What happened with, you know, the dynamic of that. Up next, we got Gabi. All right, last date about to pop off. Let's get it. They go horseback riding. Zach has troubles getting on the horse even. He's like trying to get on one side. The horse is like, no, son, you're getting in on the other side. So he just lets the horse walk over. You know, it seemed like he was having a little bit of trouble during the course of the date. But alas, he got on and they took this horseback ride to a nice, beautiful looking beach. A beautiful sandy beach where they take a dip in the water and they have a little picnic area set up. Look beautiful. Champagne. They probably had some snacks, that kind of thing. And, you know, they're talking. Gabi says, you know, how much she loves his family, but also how scary the situation is because she doesn't know what's going to happen, but is also excited that she is hopefully the one that he chooses to start a life with. But it was all downhill from there. Gabi starts spiraling. Honestly, I think she's like having a hard time coping with the realization that she's not the only one, that there's another woman on the other end of this. Even though, you know, what she said was she was hoping that he's the one that she chooses, all that good stuff. I truly think or believe that she's a little bit uncertain, or she's forgetting what show that she's on. You know, it just makes me, her actions or what she's saying just makes me believe that she wants answers before Zach is ready to give them. she's under the impression that Zach should know already exactly what's going on. And that's what I mean. I think she's forgetting that there's a whole nother human being on the other side of this. Okay. That Zach has been through this entire process just as long as she has been through this process. And, he's got decisions to make about her as well. We got the final rose ceremony, aka the proposal, coming up. This has got to be a wild decision for Zach, I would think. And I mean, obviously, I thought it was going to be Ariel and Katie in this situation. But like I said last week, the fact that Ariel went home, I think this is Katie's to lose. Gabi arrives first. She feels like she knows exactly what's going to happen. She was, she in the car ride, how they do the dubbing of the producer interview. She's like, I think I know what's going to happen. I know exactly what's going to happen. I just know. I hope not, but I just know. So, confidence not really there. She says she hopes, but what they say, negativity breeds negativity. So I feel like she almost brought it upon herself. Now, I wish I could play this clip for you guys, because words just can't describe this encounter. When Zach is saying everything he loves and appreciates about her, and then continues on talking, then he stops. You see a little bit of a smile on Gabi's face, and he stops and he says, but, and it's cheese. Oh my goodness. He says, but, and right away, Gabi says, I know. I already know. I knew it. She keeps saying, stop. No, I don't want to hear it. That kind of thing. And Zach's just, he's trying to console her. He doesn't want to be rude, that kind of thing. It seems like she doesn't want any sort of sympathies from Zach, just wants to move on. Like, obviously she's heartbroken. Zach just wants to make sure she's okay, but she doesn't even want to do the exit video in the van. She sits there. You see she's taking her shoes off, taking her heels off. She's like, I don't even want to do this. I don't even want to talk about this right now, which is fair. She's got her heart broken, all that kind of stuff. But as well, that's got to be a tough flight home for her too. I can't even imagine. She feels like Zach's been stringing her along, and I can't agree with her on that, because like I said, this must be an impossible decision for him. And we've seen throughout the course of the season where he's just let people go, before rose ceremony. So I don't think that was the case where he was stringing her along or anything. Obviously, she feels like she was hurt. She feels like he should have been able to make that decision earlier. Should have told her earlier, but maybe he didn't know. He's truly torn. So I think she should consider that as well. So Gabi has been sitting down with Jesse 2 Jack Palmer watching that scene. And, they talk about how she feels watching it, and in that moment, all that kind of stuff, and how it feels afterwards, and how it's different than any regular situation, just given the circumstances. It's not like you're just breaking up and you say, oh, I'll see you around or catch you later, that kind of thing. No, there's another woman on the other end who he is going to end up with more than likely. So there's that aspect too. And I mean, I understand how she can feel upset and whatnot about the situation, but girl, do you not remember what you signed up for? This is the motherfucking Bachelor. This is what happens. I feel like if she felt that she was being strung along, maybe she should have said something, or maybe she just should have left. She could have left, but obviously that's not the case. She was still hoping. So I think it's unfair for her to say that Zach was stringing her along, So Zach comes out, they hug. She talks about the night they spent together and just how she kind of feels, I don't want to say used, but it's very uncomfortable for her because she feels like she's part of a narrative across the nation, just with people who watch and whatnot. Me personally, I would never hold that against somebody. You're an adult. You can make consulting adult decisions, and you're on a TV show. That's the thing. Like, you are on a TV show, and obviously they're not going to have cameras. We're not making pornos here, but you got to realize that, people are probably going to find out. But I guess she's saying that she didn't know that he told, she's saying a bunch of people, and that he used her name. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not recall a time where Zach said specifically that Gabi was the one that he slept with, because obviously he didn't tell Ariel. he told Katie that he was intimate with one of the other girls. And during that rose ceremony where Ariel went home, Katie said to Gabi, I know you were the one. And so I don't know how Gabi can say that she just found out that he had told people, or everyone, as she says, because there's a few clips that tell otherwise, you know? So I was just a little bit confused about that part. But back to the program. Katie pops out of the van, looking all nice in this white satin looking dress. 2Jack greets her, and you know, she's walking up on the beach. They show Zach, he's holding the rose, getting ready to propose. She rolls up. She throws down this heartfelt speech. It seemed to be exactly what Zach needed to hear. He's getting a little bit emotional. He throws down a nice little speech as well. And in fact, kind of had not even just Katie, I'm gonna say maybe a few people, because even at one point I was like, this man's ain't serious right now. Had us guessing for a second, but it was good because they exchange I love yous. Zach gets down on one knee. He pops the question, and Katie says, I do. And my goodness, is it beautiful. You know, this whole time, well, I won't say this whole time, but for a long time, I'd probably say around the halfway point, wherever they were prior to Estonia, I think it was in the Caribbean, I was saying like, yo, I think Katie is one of the front runners. I've been saying it for a long time. Turns out to be the case. Bada bing, bada boom. There it is, baby. So Zach gives the final rose. They hug, they kiss. It's beautiful. Exactly how I thought it was going to go down. Austin, Texas, your newest engaged couple is on their way home. Zach's going to spend some time in New York, and then he's actually going to move to Austin, move in with Katie, and they're going to start their life together. Planning a 2025 wedding, I think is what they said. And then they'll talk about kids after that. But you know, it's an accelerated process, and they just want to take the time to get to know each other, do all the fun stuff that, you know, couples would do when they're, you know, in the honeymoon stage, I guess you could say. You know, go out for coffee, go out for dinners, dates, all that good stuff, and just enjoy each other as they should. So we also get a little bit of a sneak peek of Charity's first night as the Bachelorette, as that's the situation that's going down right now. And it appears that on the first night, her brother gets in on the action in a disguise, calling himself the undercover brother, wanting to make sure that all the men are there for the right reasons. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for following me on this Bachelor journey. I do plan to follow the Bachelorette as well with Charity, which I think is going to be a good time. So with that being said, hit like, hit subscribe. If you've made it to the end of the video, I should probably say that like during the beginning of the video, who knows? But this has been your 5-minute fix.